Are you still using your handheld mobile phone while driving? If so, you're completely nuts. But the number of motorists caught using a mobile phone has almost halved since penalties for the offenders were doubled. Around 39,000 fixed penalty notices were issued to drivers between March and December last year. Now, that compares to 74,000 during the same period. So it is, if you want to be absolutely precise, if you're Diane Abbott, it's 47% decline, and it's due to a combination of harsher punishments, road safety campaigns, and perhaps a lack of enforcement due to reductions in traffic officer numbers, according to the AA. Let's pick up on a couple of those points with Nick Freeman, who regularly helps us with matters such as these. He's a criminal defence lawyer and he specialises in this matter. When you see these headline figures, Nick, are you surprised that people are still doing it? Morning to you.
Good morning, Nick. No, I'm not at all surprised. I don't believe that actually less people are using the mobile phones, and in the figures that you've just quoted, there was a period of 7 days when the police had a crackdown, and during that crackdown, nearly 2,000 people were actually charged with using a mobile phone, which equates to about 100,000 per annum. So really, statistics are fairly meaningless, because the serious problem here is there are no police enforcing the problem, and the police are being reduced time and time again, and of course as that happens, the figures are going to go down, and they're going to convey a totally misleading impression that the government's cracked the situation. It hasn't. The situation, in my view, is actually worse than it was before.
Oh, goodness me, you think it's worse, Nick?
I do, and I say that.
What backs that up? What backs that view up?
Because I live my life on the roads, and I see people on the phones non-stop all the time, totally oblivious to it, and you can drive the length and breadth of the country and you never see a police car.
How much is this? I mean, you're an acknowledged expert in this field, and hopefully you will accept that finally the education as regards drink driving got through to people, but it was a long process. It doesn't happen overnight. How long does it take to educate people about something such as this, would you say?
You need an intensive campaign, and we haven't had an intensive campaign yet, and I think if you had a hard-hitting campaign, it would certainly help. But that in isolation is not sufficient. You need that. You need enforcement. And in my view, because of the lack of police, what you need is a penalty which is commensurate with the problem. And as you know, and I think we've discussed before, the level of distraction is exactly the same as drink driving. The penalty for drink driving is a 12-month period of disqualification, and yet the points have just increased from 3 to 6. It's disproportionate. It ought to be the same level. There ought to be a parity. And in my view, if you introduced a period of disqualification of 12 months, if you were caught using your mobile phone, I think that would have a massive impact, and it would cure the vast majority of the problem overnight.
So just to make sure I'm hearing you right, Nick Freeman, you're saying that you would treat those caught using a mobile phone while at the wheel of a vehicle would be treated in the same fashion as if they were drunk?
Exactly, because it's the same level of distraction. It's exactly as dangerous. It's the same level of danger, so why should you pose a difference? And some people say, well, what is wrong with sitting at a traffic light on a mobile phone? And I would say to you, what is wrong with sitting at a traffic light whilst you're drunk?
Strong words, Nick Freeman, thank you. You're a criminal defence lawyer, you specialise in this area. Your views on that at the moment. 8:41, you're listening to LBC.